And now let's start to compose our suite in B minor. So we have a suite in the major mode, B flat major, and another suite in the minor mode, B minor. B and B, so they are similar but different. Now this suite is Allemande, it's in a different style, so very similar from some point of views to the Allemandes we analyzed by Handel. So let's start analyzing what's happening. Remember to copy some Allemandes, remember to proceed gradually. Then, here we have 4 bars plus 4 bars plus 4 bars. So the first section takes 3 phrases. And the second section, 1, so 4 bars, other 3 phrases. Now, let's play the structure. At the beginning, in the first phrase, Allemande, courante, sarabande, giga, minuet, corrente, passepied, courret, gavotte, lourd. Learn how to compose a Baroque suite with all its dances. Study the compositional techniques of each dance. Analyze the work of the great composers and compose 2 full suites together with me. Discover suite and dances, the third level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path. Go to this link, explore everything you will learn, and start today with the free levels on the Musicus Practicus Academy free. Then choose the complete path that suits you best and get ready to compose your first Baroque suite as if you had lived in the 18th century. At the beginning, in the first phrase, we have a kind of re mi fa. As you can see, re mi fa. In the first 2 measures, we have the re mi fa, which is our opening pattern, followed by something else, a sequence, which is a prinner. La, mi, sol, fa, mi, re. A prinner. This way. Now, let's start the first 2 measures. So this is the main idea, the melodic idea of our Allemande. La la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re. And so we have our first words, which takes, let's say, 3 beats, starting on beat number 4 and ending on beat number 3. Like question and then the answer. Re, mi, ti, ri, 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 do, 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 do. Even here, beat number 4 to beat number 3. This is a kind of regularity which is very important in Baroque style. This is nothing more than a descending scale developed with an ascending 7th instead of a descending 2nd, this way. And the bass, ascending scale, so contrasting elements even at the beginning. Notice 3, 8, 3. Six, 6, 6, 6, 5. And instead of resolving here the bass, this is the point where the beginning of the new sequence takes place. It's true that it should start here, in fact it starts there, but I'm adding this in the bass in order to have something more unexpected. Because this is the true beginning, but this is very unexpected. I could continue doing copy and paste, so but I wanted something different, so instead of from the bottom, this time I changed this. That's why you can find another note. In order to have variety, this is the point. And here the first cadence, important cadence, arrives. Cadence to B minor. As you can see. So let's play now the sequence, which is the prinner. with a 7 in the middle, 7 escape tone and resolution. And this is the end of the new phrase, and as you can see, this phrase takes moves from beat number 3 to beat number 4, so from beat number 4 to beat number 3, which is the double of the first two phrases. So phrase A, B, let's say one measure, and now the following phrase takes two entire measures. This way. Now we need something else moving to another point. What? For example, if we want to do the final cadence to the first part to F sharp minor, the 5th degree of the minor key, so the 5th degree of B minor, here cadence to F sharp minor, we can put a half cadence or a Phrygian cadence to the 5th degree of F sharp minor, so C sharp major. How to reach the cadence to C sharp major? La, sol, fa. With the Phrygian cadence, for example, we can use the Fenaroli pattern. Here it is, the Fenaroli. Fenaroli number 1. Parallel thirds. And this Fenaroli, this way, it's leading, as you can see, E. Then actually there's E sharp and then D natural, because there is another note in the middle. This is leading to C sharp, and then we have another Fenaroli, which is in F sharp minor. This Fenaroli is in F sharp minor. How? Because we have the 5th degree of F sharp. Here we had the 5th degree of B minor. And the leading tone is A sharp, so you know B minor, and here the leading tone is E sharp. So let's play the structure of the next section. And this structure is starting with the upbeat, at least the development, but we'll see this later. So let's start from the structure. Second part. Phrygian cadence. Okay, now let's develop the first Fenaroli. Here we have the cadence, so since we want this movement in the bass, I'm starting with the upbeat, the pick-up upbeat in the previous phrase. And this note belongs to the following phrase. Actually, even this note is an upbeat of the upbeat. As you can see. Okay, and now let's play the realization. Notice how I'm using this scale spread between the two voices. Instead of one single voice, I'm splitting that scale between the two voices. This is a technique, a common technique of the style brisé. And now we have a new Fenaroli, which is different from the previous one in the development. Do you remember this? It's what we had here. Now it's here. What's different in this Fenaroli? First of all, the 8th note passage here is in the top and here is in the bass. Then even the other passage, so the one with the repetition, here the 5th degree is in the bass, while the canon is in the middle, and here the 5th degree is in the top, as you can see. So it's ascending. Here descending. Here ascending. And the third time, la, sol, fa, mi. And now we have something else. We have a sequence. This sequence, actually, if you play the bass, is the transposition, or better, is the inversion of the sequence we had before. Do you remember this sequence? Now, instead of having this melody in the top, it's in the bass. In a new key, in F sharp minor, and this bass, now it's in the melody, as you can see. Ending with a deceptive cadence, and the pattern which comes out from all of these from this point, this section in the bass, is the tight bass. So one more thing you can notice is let's see, is that this note becomes our tight bass. Because here is a suspension in one of the two upper voices, now it's a suspension in the bass. And notice how we do not have any crossing here. Why? Because in that case the crossing is not the best solution, crossing the tight bass, because the tight bass requires to be tied. So 8, 3, 5, 6, 8, 3, 5, 6, here it's a little different, as you can see. Instead of having the repetition of C, here we are crossing. In our other point, we are not crossing. It's just a choice. So as you can see, it's a transposition which is not the exact transposition. We have some elements which are changing. Is it okay? Yes, it is okay. It even creates a new level of variety in this style. So let's play now the structure of the tight bass. Deceptive cadence. So even in the structure we need the natural ta, followed by the double cadence. And the double cadence has another faster deceptive cadence followed by another counterpoint cadence, the strongest one. So let's play now the development of the sequence. We arrive to the Phrygian cadence. Notice here how this chord takes the rhythm because of the stile brisé. It's like if we have one single melody, but in 3 different voices. This way, and then this double cadence is nothing more than an elaboration of the other one, of the structural one. Contrary motion. and instead of resolving here, four, here, we have this passage. Here there is a little typo in my writing because this is it should be an A. Okay, then leading to oh, even this. Yes, even this can work actually. Yes, this way we can arrive to A sharp, yes, why not? But A sharp because we are on the 5th degree, so this is not the ending. Okay, let's play again the final cadence, the double cadence. And from this point, we come back to the beginning. So there is a 16th note which is missing, because the 16th note which is missing is the upbeat at the beginning. This one. Okay, now let's play again the second part. So I mean the last phrase from the previous point. Yes, and now second section. The second section, every self-respecting Baroque composer wrote at least one suite with their own dances. Think of Bach's French suites, Handel's suite, or harpsichord partitas by other great composers. Composing a suite is a true challenge. Each dance has its own rhythms, phrasing, style, and unique character. And if you don't study how each one works, you risk writing an Allemande that sounds like a gavotte, a French courante that feels like a sarabande, or a minuet that turns into a passe-pied. No, no, no! What you need is structure, method, and the right knowledge. That's why I created an entire level on the Musicus Practicus Baroque path dedicated to composing a complete Baroque suite with all its dances. The dances you'll study include Allemande, sarabande, minuet, gavotte, bourrée, French courante, Italian corrente, passe-pied, lourd, French jig, and Italian jig-up. Each dance is introduced in a carefully structured didactical order, and for every one of them I've designed a target learning method, the most effective one I've used and I use in my one-to-one lessons, which has helped students achieve faster and more solid results. First, we studied the compositional elements of each dance, rhythm, phrasing and structure. Then we analyzed many real examples from different composers so you can learn directly from them and be inspired by their work. Finally, the active part. We composed 2 full suites together, writing 2 dances for each type, one in B flat major and the other one in B minor, to explore the expressive richness of both major and minor modes. All of these and much more in the third level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path, suite and dances. Click the link to download the free ebook on Suite and Dances and to explore the full content. Then get started with the free levels you can find on the Musicus Practicus Academy free. Then choose the complete path that suits you best and get ready to compose your Baroque suite as if you had lived in the 18th century. The second section, the second phrase, at the beginning we have a monte, so the second phrase. The first phrase of the second section is common in this style, it's very common, we have a fonte. Now let's see how we can develop this fonte. The melody is the melody we have at the beginning, but instead of descending, it is ascending. As you can see, it's ascending, so opposite direction. And then here in the bass we have a melody which is creating a dialogue, and it's creating the continuous flow of 16. We don't have 16th notes here, so they are in the bass. Appoggiatura, then, so cadence to B minor, then A major. So even here we have one single word from beat 4 to beat 3, one single word from beat 4 to beat 3, and thanks to this passage we have something similar to the opening in terms of the rhythm. And now, this is our opening, as you can see, but in A major, because thanks to the fonte we arrive to A major. So we feature the same patterns, do, re, mi. We have here, and so even here it's like 2 plus 2, okay? I mean 4 bars plus 4 beats plus 4 beats. After this, what's happening? We have the Fenaroli, so we are reusing all these elements, but this time in a very different way. Why? Because do you see that we have this repetition? Pam, 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 pam. This part, this element of the Fenaroli was in the middle, here, and in the middle. So now, in the new Fenaroli, it's in the bass. So let's repeat the same material, but in a different way. Okay, so let's play now the new section, so these 2 bars, and remember that we have to feature a cadence. We had a cadence to F sharp minor, so now we need a cadence to the major relative, D major, because we are in B minor, and the cadence to B major arrives here at the end of the second phrase. But we are in A major, so we have to find a way to reach D major. So we need to point out the D major cadence here and then to fill up what's in the middle reusing our material. Let's play the structure. Fenaroli, La, Sol, Fa. We can cadence, evaded cadence, and then the true cadence arriving here. Now let's play the elaboration. No. Contrary motion, so the bass stops for a little, contrary motion. The bass rejoins. And the cadence, the strong cadence, arrives here. The fact that the bass joins here when there is the cadence gives to this cadence a stronger effect. And so this is the second phrase. Perfect. And so what's coming in the next point? In the next point we have a prinner, and this prinner is, so what is this prinner? Is the sequence we had at the beginning, so after the B minor section, and thanks to this A sharp we come back very quickly to B minor because we're using the melodic scale. And we have the same sequence, but not exactly the same. Why? Because it's true that the two upper voices are featuring the same sequence. But notice one thing. Notice the bass. So the bass is not stepwise, it's not moving stepwise like here, but it's featuring leaps to have more variety, and at the end of the sequence we have the deceptive cadence, exactly as the end of the previous part of part 1. So there is a really big interaction between all the elements we have been using in the first part. The second part is an elaboration of the first part. That's why once you have composed the first part, the second part it's quick, and let's say if you take 2 hours to compose the first part, you'll take only 1 hour to do the second one. Maybe at the beginning it's not like this because you have to experiment and to learn these techniques. But then once you are more confident with this writing composition in Baroque style, the second part is relatively easier than the first one. So we have the prinner, the section, ending with the deceptive cadence. Why? Because at the end of the deceptive cadence, we reconnect to the double cadence with another deceptive cadence here, which is a transposition to the first degree of the cadence we had at the end of the first part. Here it is. So now, let's play the last phrase. Deceptive, and then and this time minor, of course, because we are in B minor. Here, in order to connect the 2 points, we may need something a little bit different. We may change something in that section. At the end, so between the end of the prinner with the deceptive cadence and the beginning of the new sequence, so of the final cadence. Why? Because we cannot do the same thing. We have to move the parts in order to come back from the inversions, because here we have the inversion, so the tied bass. Here we do not have the tied bass. We have the original setting of the sequence, and then we have to find a way to move higher. Otherwise, with the left hand, we go too much low. So in order to move higher, I'm doing this scale, contrary motion to the third, and this way I can reconnect. So when you do a copy and paste and you do some adjustments in the single sequences and the patterns, you may even add something more in order to connect them not randomly, but with a style which is coherent to the style of your composition. And so this is the second part. Now let's play the entire second part, because I want you to listen how all these things are connected. Okay, and this was the Allemande. You can even listen to the complete performance, okay? Copy these Allemandes in order to understand, to study, to better understand what's happening through all the voices, and then compose your Allemandes. You can use, you have a canvas to compose your Allemandes, or you can rebuild your canvas. Then, if you are at the beginning of your compositional journey, this may require a lot of times, even a couple of days or even more. You may need some guidance because this is not something easy for all, but in general it's not easy, so you may need one or more training sessions, lessons where we work together, at least to start the composition. Then you can continue alone by yourself, step by step. Here I provide you with all the information you need to compose an Allemande. The practical part depends a lot on even what's your background and your skills. So you may need some guidance, consider this and contact me in order to work together with one-to-one sessions. Every self-respecting Baroque composer wrote at least one suite with their own dances. Think of Bach's French suites, Handel's suite, or harpsichord partitas by other great composers. Composing a suite is a true challenge. Each dance has its own rhythms, phrasing, style and unique character. And if you don't study how each one works, you risk writing an Allemande that sounds like a gavotte, a French courante that feels like a sarabande, or a minuet that turns into a passe-pied. No, no, no! What you need is structure, method and the right knowledge. That's why I created an entire level on the Musicus Practicus Baroque path dedicated to composing a complete Baroque suite with all its dances. The dances you'll study include Allemande, sarabande, minuet, gavotte, bourrée, French courante, Italian corrente, passe-pied, lourd, French jig and Italian giga. Each dance is introduced in a carefully structured didactical order, and for every one of them I've designed a target learning method, the most effective one I've used and I use in my one-to-one lessons, which has helped students achieve faster and more solid results. First, we studied the compositional elements of each dance, rhythm, phrasing and structure. Then we analyzed many real examples from different composers so you can learn directly from them and be inspired by their work. Finally, the active part. We composed 2 full suites together, writing 2 dances for each type, one in B flat major and the other one in B minor, to explore the expressive richness of both major and minor modes. All of these and much more in the 3rd level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path, Suite and Dances. Click the link to download the free ebook on Suite and Dances and to explore their full content. Then get started with the free levels you can find on the Musicus Practicus Academy free. Then choose the complete path that suits you best and get ready to compose your Baroque suite as if you had lived in the 18th century.